YouTube, what's going on, man? What happening? It's your boy Benji, and we are back. Look, I understand it's been a long hiatus. I ain't gonna lie. I've been trying to figure some stuff out. But seriously, for the people on the Patreon, I'm trying to get things together for y'all. Y'all have been letting me know a lot of things that you want to see, and content going forwards. I'm trying to kind of figure out a schedule that works. But all in all, the biggest problem was that WWE was dropping stuff while many of us were asleep. Alright, they were out from Australia this weekend, and the shows were starting at like 8 a.m., bro. So I had work, all type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? But I gotta talk about it, man. We came off a SmackDown that was highly rated, a crown jewel that surprised, and fresh off of WWE Raw, they had the opportunity to culminate all that they've been building up this weekend. Because I can't lie, the WWE has not been terrible this weekend. But if you're new, I appreciate you for subbing. Go hit the button. Get a like button to chop, man. Let's get into the show. Seth and the Vision come out to GLOAT in order to open up the show and mention his big W at Crown Jewel against Cody Rhodes. He says that no one is on his level and that he hasn't needed anyone to get any success. I think that's a little bit strange. I mean, let's think about it. Dude, who cares if you beat Cody Rhodes? The dude is up 3-2-1. Like, for example, this is a playoff series. Let's say if this was the New York Knicks and they were facing off against the Indiana Pacers or the Boston Celtics. If the Knicks were down 3-1, most people would say, all right, Knicks, you had a good chance. The Celtics are better. Maybe next year. If I went and played rock, paper, scissors against somebody and they beat me 3 times, I beat them 1, I can't say I'm better than them because I won once. Anyways, I found it really crazy for him to say that he hasn't needed anyone to have a success, especially since Seth has the Bronze on his side, as well as Paul Heyman. He says he doesn't need any of the dudes that are standing here, and this is one of the many times that he has said this since he has held the belt. But this is one of the first times that he's reiterated this in front of all of their faces and the crowds. It just hits a little bit different when you sit there in front of people. It's like, you know what I'm saying? Your boy can hold you when you're in private, but if you're in front of the girls, if you're in front of the boys, if you're in front of the people out in public and they do you dirty, it's kind of like, come on, dude. A lot of y'all are probably feeling deja vu because we've seen Dirty Dom versus Penta a myriad of ways throughout the year. So I didn't really expect much, but these guys are matching up against one another for the Intercontinental Championship. Are there any other people in the locker room? Could we have done something else? Could we have added some stipulations, a third person? I don't know. Dom was entertaining and the people cheered for him throughout the match. I think the WWE has kind of forgotten about the psychology. Like, if we think about a lot that goes into these builds, that's a big part of the storylines. What am I saying? Benji, what are you talking about? Guys, what I'm talking about is the fact that there are no true heels that are facing off against true faces. Now, we do get these matches every once in a while. Like, for example, you get Dom versus Penta. But if you look at a lot of what's going on in the WWE, we're seeing a lot of faces matching up against faces and heels matching up against heels. And so people are kind of confused. If we look at it, Dom has become a favored person, which is fine. I think you could be a bad guy. A lot of people can like you in some sense. But he's not a heel, isn't he's dastardly and disrespectful to the crowd. He's just a heel because he cheats. He's slimy. He has multiple girls. But if he, it's tough to root against him in this match, honestly, because no one thinks Penta's gonna win, bro. I don't really know. I won't lie. There was a moment when I said, okay, maybe things could swing in Penta's direction. But then for some strange reason, Rusev comes out to the ring and is the catalyst for Dom getting a window to run to the timekeeper's area and grab a hammer that he ends up using to hit Penta below the waist. And then he places that hammer inside of his boot, which helps emphasize the 619 that he uses to win. And this only leads us to what I was talking about. We're about to get a heel versus heel matchup. Why would anybody root for Rusev in this scenario? Speaking of stories getting drawn out, we get KAIRI Sane versus RHEA. And, I mean, again, the story's just been getting drawn out, seriously. But the good thing is that we are highlighting KAIRI Sane. Of course, since they are in Australia, RHEA cannot lose. But the fact that we even have this match in the first place is solely to show Asuka that KAIRI Sane is loyal. And I ain't gonna lie. C got super slapped before this match. And I will say I am enjoying the fact that Asuka is doing the most to become this evil dictator. Or really just like a big sis that's trying to get everybody in line. But yeah, the fight begins after the bell. And Rhea's about to throw Asuka through the commentator's table. But KAIRI thwacks Rhea with a kendo stick so that Asuka can gain the advantage. The Kabuki Warriors stand tall, but if you had asked me, I think we can move forward. I'm not really sure why Rhea is mixed up in this, because by the logic of this story, Rhea could have gotten switched out for anyone. Like, this could have been Roxanne or Bayley or Chelsea Green or, I don't know, anybody. The story would have went the same. It could have been more entertaining, though, if it was one of those other women. But Rhea being here is just an opportunity for a big pop in Australia. I'm interested to see what they're going to do next with the Kabuki Warriors, because if you had to ask me, they should go after tag title gold. I do think it's strange, though, that the people that are supposed to be tag teams, like, these people are supposed to be tag team champions, right? Like, potentially we could see the Kabuki Warriors getting gold again. Why do they just get to lose? Like, again, if, like, the logic should not be that just because you are a dominant single star, that you should be able to absolutely murder everybody in the tag team division. It should be, even if you're really good as a single star, you have to figure out a way to work with somebody as a tag team, right? So Rhea shouldn't be able to just team up with Io, and just because they both held the women's championship within the last year, they can easily beat the Kabuki Warriors. They should have to work better as a team. Now, in this scenario, they've done a pretty good job within the storytelling in order to show us that Asuka and KAIRI aren't directly on the same page because they're fighting against people that they would view as friends. So I understand it. But what the point I'm trying to allude to is that it just, for anybody that's over 5 years old, you'll watch this and you'll say, where's the power scaling here? If I'm supposed to get behind these women as singles champs, and I'm supposed to get behind them as tag team, then why would I not get behind, or why would I get behind the people that are an actual tag team? I don't know. I'm ranting a little bit, but that's what I'm just saying. It's just like the same argument I've been making about Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker. If they can beat everybody as singles competitors, why do they lose as a tag team when they're on the same team? They should have no problem beating everybody, right? Unfortunately, WWE logic does not work like that. Before we saw the next match, we got to see the twins backstage still seething over Roman yelling at them like an angry dad over the weekend. And we finally get the match of Jimmy Uso versus Bronson Reed, which, again, if we had to think about this from a power scale level, there's no way that Jimmy Uso wins this match since Bronson Reed just beat Roman Reigns at Crown Jewel. Again, this is where, if you are over 5 years old, there should be a little bit of a moment. I don't think that... Oh, did I freeze up for a second? I don't think that Roman Reigns can't lose. But if Bronson Reed's supposed to be the dude that beats the guy that hasn't been beaten in 5 years, then we got to think about who is he, right? In regards to all of this. No way Jimmy Uso stands a chance. Basically what I'm saying. Of course, the Vision end up trying to jump these dudes, and Jay comes out to save his brother, and then they have a disagreement. And I guess this alludes to the moment backstage where they had where Jey Uso mentioned that he didn't want to come out and help his brother because the last couple times that he's taken his eye off the ball, it's costed him when it came to trying to win gold. Again, we've kind of seen this angle multiple times, but I'm not mad at the way they're trying to portray this because it's true. Jey Uso has done a lot of focusing on other people when he should have paid attention to what's going on in front of him. That's how he lost the Intercontinental Championship. That's how he lost the WWE Championship. And that's how he's been on a losing streak since. We got to see a tag match of the Judgment Day versus Roxanne. I'm sorry, versus Rock. So many names. Bayley and Lyra. They beat the Judgment Day. Goodness me, I'm sorry, y'all. It's early. I'm just trying to get this video pumped out to y'all. So I've been ranting. I've been tripping. But look, hopefully y'all rock with me. I do want to salute the women of the Judgment Day because they've been putting work in and week out. And if you had to think about it, they are kind of the catalyst of a lot of these stories developing. But I had told y'all when we first started doing these reviews that I am not a fan of my girl Bayley from the Bay. Even though she's from the Bay. Look, sister, I love you. But come on. I just can't get behind her. The Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde moment is Lyra slapping Bayley to get her to turn another gear and get the W via Rose Plant. Good for them. What's next? Well, my answer comes pretty quickly as the evil R's interrupt Stephanie Vicaria's victory speech with some facts. Low-key, Roxanne should have been the one with the opportunity that Steph has. She's the one that beat Io prior to WrestlePalooza, and she should have been the one that went to WrestlePalooza and be where Miss Vicaria is right now. Vicaria brings up a crazy stat about her being one of the only people to ever win 4 championships in 1 year. And that's facts. She won both championships in NXT to the point where they didn't even know what to do with the other championships, so she just vacated it. And then she's won a Crown Jewel Championship. She's won a Women's Championship on the main roster. Like, yo, she's actually OD. She's out of this world. I do want to salute WWE too because I mentioned doing these reviews coming into Crown Jewel that these belts mean nothing. So it's at least nice to see that while they're still in Australia, they were able to reference the belts and actually brought them out and wore them. But I would like to think, why don't these women just give up and challenge Becky? Is it because Becky is a heel? I mean, again, they don't care anywhere else on the card, so why not care here? But hey, go after the big belt. I think it is interesting, though, that Roxanne's the one that's mentioning that she should challenge for the belt. Raquel, you don't care? Now, the main event of the show was CM Punk versus LA Knight versus Jey Uso. Man, we watch these old men go at it, and it's CM Punk that comes out with the W following a GTS that knocks Jey Uso's grill out. This could be an interesting story to play into. As Jey Uso mentioned, he's taking his eye off the ball. It's possible that if he would have came out, or if he wouldn't have came out and helped his brother out, he possibly could have had the energy to avoid this moment here. Well, yeah, we'll figure that out next week. Anyways, he loses. And CM Punk is able to sit in the glory that is the Australia crowd chanting his name because he now has the opportunity to face up against Seth Rollins again. The Vision show up and they beat up CM Punk and go with business as usual. I was watching this. I was literally about to cut the TV off, yelling about the monotony and why the Bronze are still standing beside Seth and doing his bidding. But then, I ain't gonna lie, I got hit with a swerve. Braun Breaker spears Seth Rollins. What the heck? Oh. He then gets in Bronson Reed's face and dude tsunami Seth. And him and Bronson stand there to pick up the title. Now, I thought it was interesting that Paul Heyman acts like he doesn't know what's going on. He's losing his mind. Now, I know he mentioned going into Crown Jewel that it is very likely that he and the Bronze would have to find somebody else to pledge allegiance to if Seth loses. But even with a win, these guys turn up against Seth. Now, if you call back to the beginning of the episode when Seth Rollins says he doesn't need the Bronze, Braun Breaker is the first one to kind of stir. And we can see him starting to put the pieces together in his head. After Seth mentioned he didn't need them, dude is like, hold on. Did he just say? Did he just? Like, if you just watch him throughout this scene, he's not on the same page as the rest of them. Even at the end, where Seth is standing tall and celebrating, Bronson is like, huh? He said it about me. So I can't lie. They cooked this weekend. If I had to be generous, bro, I gotta be generous. Dude, I'm trying to keep it positive, man. Now, has the weekend been great? No. But, like, for WWE, we like to rate things yay, nay, and okay. This is, look, they've been giving us so much trash. This is a yay, bro. Good weekend. Good SmackDown. I'm interested to see what's going to come of, Aleister Black and a lot of the moments that we got to see on TV. Are they going to have Javon Evans showing up regularly? I'm interested in that. Additionally, what's going to come of the vision moving forward. And now that Seth Rollins has to face up against CM Punk without his vision, what does this mean? Is this another ruse? Is Braun Breaker finally going to get an opportunity to do some winning in the singles division? Is he and Braun Breaker or Bronson Reed going to go after tag team gold? Again, I think that this is starting to logically follow. Makes sense. I don't know if they cleared shop and got some new people writing. This is good stuff. I'm actually surprised. And I do got to talk about the John Cena match that he had against AJ Styles. There was a lot of emotion that went into that match. And I mean, they did a really good job invoking emotion from the crowd. I do think that it was even nice to see Seth Rollins match off against Cody Rhodes, because Seth Rollins had to do everything possible to beat Cody Rhodes. He's pulling out stuff out of his bag that he hasn't even pulled out of his bag before. I thought that was an interesting touch. And of course, going back to the Cena match, they played dividends to so many wrestlers of the past. I mean, AJ Styles coming out in the TNA gear was one of the moments, right? A great callback to the people that really love the game. So, all in all, they not doing too bad. I like to see what Stephanie Vaquer is getting into, and again, what some of the main characters, the main players, got going on next in storylines. But at the very least, I'm interested to see what's going to go on with the people that are not even sitting at the front. So, really good turn. We're getting an opportunity to see some other people getting some builds. Things could be going very positively coming up next. Y'all let me know what y'all thought about this weekend in totality. I got to give it a yay. Stay tuned to the next one.